Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good myself. Today I want to talk about context and its importance on the pursuit of knowledge. Um, so, something that I've learned in life is that there is no, it's hard to say no better way to live life. That seems like kind of a statement that can't really be made with certainty. But I do believe that the pursuit of knowledge is the most enjoyable way to live life. It's how the lessons you learn, the information that you acquire throughout your pursuit of knowledge teach you how to be happy, right? I feel like the pursuit of knowledge is the route you should take if you want to be as happy as possible. And what I found is that context is a very important piece of the pursuit of knowledge and acquiring as much, maybe acquiring isn't the right word, but really learning as much as you can. Intaking information, inputting information into your mind. Reading doesn't mean that you're going to learn the material. I'm talking about genuinely learning and absorbing and having a deep understanding of the information that you put into your head, right? And so what I'm trying to get across when I say that context is very important, a very important piece of the puzzle is, so here, how will I say this? So say that you're reading a book and there's every once in a while, it's like a more complicated book than you're used to reading, right? Every once in a while, there's a word or an idea or a concept or maybe a theory that you don't know what it is. You haven't heard it, but the author is using that word or phrase or idea in sentences in a way that it's not explaining to you what it means, right? It's the author's expecting you to already know it, but you don't know it. This will inhibit your learning, and this is why context is important. If you have that background information before you go into reading a more complicated book, at least for your standards, right? If you have that background information, you're going to be able to learn the ideas better. So I'm not saying don't read books that are complicated, right? I'm saying do things while you're reading in order to improve your catalog of context, right? Like how much context that you have, how much information you have that can be used as context, used as a tool to understand more complicated ideas. So specifically, things that you can do are while you're reading and you come across a word or idea or theory or phrase, whatever it is that you don't understand, or maybe even that you don't have a confident idea that you understand, or a confidence that you understand it, right? You think, oh, I think I know what that is. I think it's this, but you're not really positive, right? Just take the time to Google it, look up the definition, and write it down. I can't possibly put into words how important this has been to me these past few days, past week or so that I've started this habit again. At one point I did have this habit in the past and life got stressful. When life gets stressful, you sort of lose good habits, right? But in the past and right now, when I have had this habit, it has been monumental to my growth as an individual, to my learning abilities. Just having, you'll not only understand what you're reading right now better in that moment, but also say that you didn't look that word up. You didn't figure out or find the definition to the word that's inhibiting your learning. Not only will you not learn from the book that you're reading, the paragraph you're reading, the passage you're reading as well, but in the future, if you come across that word or idea again, then you're also going to inhibit your learning then. You're also not going to be able to understand what you're reading then. So it's just, you got to think of it as an investment, right? You're investing your time and energy to write down a definition. Sometimes you're in the middle of reading and it feels like you're in a groove and you don't want to stop. You don't want to stop reading because reading can be very enjoyable, right? And it feels like you're losing out on progress if you take time to write down every word that you don't know. And I'm not even saying write down every single word that you don't know, because sometimes that's very unrealistic, but pick at least a few words to write down per reading session. At least my goal that I set for myself is at least 5 per hour or whatever. I usually write more than that, but at least 5 is my goal. But oh, I lost my train of thought. But if you write down that word, okay, yeah, it's an investment, right? It's an investment of your time and energy, and in return, you now have a tool that you can use to understand more complicated ideas and concepts. You have to develop your understanding of the background information that you can use in the future, right? You can't just read over it and act like you not knowing that word is, or act like you're just randomly or someday suddenly gonna know what that word means, right? And you're suddenly gonna be able to piece it together, piece the information that you're reading together. It's just going to lead to you having vague understandings of concepts, or maybe misunderstanding concepts, thinking that you know what it means and you just don't, and you're just wrong. And then that leads to a whole snowball of so say you misunderstand one word and you think you're like, yeah, I think I know what that means, but you don't look it up, right? So then you use that misunderstanding to understand the concept that you're reading, but now you misunderstand the concept that you're reading too. And then maybe that concept that you just read will become context to understand a different concept. And then because you misunderstand that first concept, you're bound to misunderstand the next concept too. And it's not a good loop to be in. You're just kind of fucking yourself over. You just got to take the time to teach yourself what you don't know, even if it's boring. And it is sometimes. But you really genuinely feel the difference in your confidence in what you're reading immediately. You write down the definition, then you reread the sentence, reread the paragraph maybe, and then you understand it better. It's pretty damn immediate. But then later that night, say you're journaling and you use that word again, or maybe you don't use that word, but you use words that are related, and it just helps, man. It just helps. I promise. If you're on the pursuit of knowledge, which I advise you should be, write down definitions, build your context build your tools for developing your understanding of what you're reading next, the new information that you present to yourself. So go ahead, get started, build this habit. I promise you it's one of the most important habits I built. Have a good day.